Comparative Civilization's Final Study Guide. Industrial Revolution. Causes. Major population growth. England, Wales and US grow rapidly due to lots of food, immigration, and early marriage. Agricultural Revolution. Major Atlantic Ocean trade beginning. Technological innovations. Results. 5 major innovations. Mass production. Mechanization. Steam engine. Electric telegraph. Impact of the Industrial Revolution. Larger cities arose. More railroads were built. Poor people moved to cities. Social changes. Women. They are beginning to work in textile mills and as servants. Children. They are also working long, hard, dangerous jobs. Cities, where people are separated by income and people work hard to get rich. Unions. Owners work against workers and no one works unless deals are made. New philosophies. Capitalism. People work to benefit society, government stays out of the economy. Positivism. Worker communities solve everything. Utopian socialism. Workers do everything together. Imperialism. Causes, motives. Political. The desire for military strength, status or national prestige. Cultural. Conversion to Christianity. Economic. New markets, raw materials or national resources. Berlin Conference. The division of Africa by major world powers. This hurts native tribes. Direct and indirect rule. Direct rule. The ruling country sends army and controls in the ruled land. Indirect. The ruling country lets native rulers stay and is used like puppet. The ruled country stays out of other countries' role. Britain. They control the Suez Canal and are hated for their violence and bitterness. They controlled from Australia to Canada. Spain. They imperialized Latin America, fought Americans in Spanish-American War and lost the Philippines to the US. France, the second largest empire behind UK, fought in scramble for Africa. Portugal also took some of Latin America and fought in scramble for Africa. US. Small part in scramble for Africa. Kept Spain out of Latin America, created the Monroe Doctrine and won Spanish-American War. They also took Hawaii from Queen Liliuokalani and got Cuba and Puerto Rico. Belgium. They were a part in the scramble for Africa. King Leopold II wants the Congo and he created the Berlin Conference. Japan. They took part in imperialism in Asia. White man's burden. This shows the problems of white men by the imperialized. Ironic in saying they have it worse than the African American natives. Scramble for Africa. Fights between Europeans to take over Africa. Created Natives Land Act. Natives put in reservations. Effects. Negative. Kingdoms were divided. Breaking apart tribes. Forced conversion to Christianity. Fights for others' land. Positive. Increased communication and trade among countries. Willing conversion. Gandhi. He led peaceful protests against India's imperialist rulers. Britain. One of the most famous peaceful protesters in the world. World War I. Causes. Long-term. Nationalism. The devotion to one's country. Imperialism. The stronger country overtakes weaker one. Militarism. The use of an army for diplomatic purposes. Alliance system. When nations form friendship partners. Immediate. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Total war. The entire country mobilizes for war. Trench warfare. When fighting is done from trenches. Stalemate. The old and same tactics lead to not moving anywhere. Propaganda. Information of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote a particular political cause. Mustard gas. Bleach and ammonia that blinds or suffocates people in trenches. Post-traumatic stress disorder. Shell shock. A disease gotten by soldiers viewing the effects of war. Russian Revolution. 1914–1918. Fight between Mensheviks or socialists and Bolsheviks or communists, who were led by Lenin. Communists win with the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk with Germany. Marx. His ideas lead to Bolsheviks change into communism. Treaty of Versailles. Big Three: Wilson, United States; Clemenceau, France; George, Great Britain. League of Nations uses request in treaty war guilt clause. Germany must say they started war. Unconditional surrender reparations. Germany must pay other countries blank check and get rid of their army. Isms. Great Depression. United States stocks crashed. People withdrew money from everywhere. Banks collapsed. Domino effect. Other countries follow ism examples. Totalitarianism. Government that aims to control political, economic, social, intellectual, and cultural lives of citizens. Socialism. Enforced by George Clemenceau, France. An evolutionary government. France was bankrupt and wanted wealth equally and regulated by all community. Still exists in India, Denmark, Norway, Sweden. Communism. Enforced by Joseph Stalin, USSR. A revolutionary government. Property is owned by whole community. This started Bolsheviks. Still exists in China, North Korea, Vietnam, Cuba. Fascism. Enforced by Benito Mussolini, Italy, where the state is above individual. Due to instability in Italy and rise in popularity, this does not exist today. Nazism. Enforced by Adolf Hitler, Germany, used socialism with racism and expansionism. This previously existed, but Hitler brought to extremes so it is non-existent today in parties. Militarism. Enforced by Tojo Hideki, Japan. A policy where the army is used as diplomatic tool. Control development and economic resources, is still used in Israel, North Korea, Iran. Isolationism. Enforced by Franklin D. Roosevelt, United States. A policy that involves non-interaction for world political and economic affairs, but keeps trade. This still exists in China, North Korea, Paraguay, but mostly Switzerland. World War II. Appeasement. A policy made by the United Kingdom and France, in which they ignore Hitler's rise to power. Holocaust. The mass murder of Jews under the Nazi regime during 1941 to 1945. More than 6 million Jews, as well as other persecuted groups, were murdered at concentration camps. Rise of Hitler. He took over Nazi Party and promised money and status to poor Germans. He blamed Jews for the Depression and claimed white, blonde, blue-eyed Germans were master race. Propaganda. Something used to convince the public of either the good, bad in Nazism, communism, Hitler, and other World War II topics. Allied powers. United States, United Kingdom and China Axis switched to Allied Italy, Austria, USSR, Spain Axis powers. Germany, Japan. France was captured by Germany early in war. Pearl Harbor. Japan bombs Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, intended to keep U.S. out of Japanese affairs. The result was the United States joining World War II. D-Day. 1944, Allied powers stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, in attempt to gain back France from Germany. This was a success. Hiroshima 1945, bombed by US's nuclear bombs. Attempt to get Japan to surrender. 200,000 PPL die, not surrendered until second bombing. Cold War. Definition. A state of political hostility between the USSR countries and the US-led Western powers. They used threats and propaganda from 1945 to 1990, arming allies. U.S. tried to free Cuba. The USSR armed Cuba with nuclear weapons. As a result, U.S. armed Turkey with nuclear weapons. Arms race. Every country was trying to make the best and most nuclear weapons. Cultural changes. Great advancements in space exploration. Countries keep their own borders. People realized the force, power, and influence of nuclear arms. Skills. Map analysis. Location, place, human environment interaction, movement, and regions. Political cartoon analysis. Specifically where, who, and what are they trying to say? Primary document analysis. Who wrote it, when, primary, secondary, perspective, role, and accuracy.